Welcome back to Creator Age. Being creators means we're always pushing forward, right? Like exploring new ideas and pouring our energy into our work. But sometimes all that hustle can really drain you and block your creativity.
Right.
So today we're diving into something that might sound a bit odd at first. Mental vacations to boost creativity.
Yeah, it's funny how we think of vacations as these big, elaborate escapes.
Right.
But what if the best breaks are right here, right now, without even leaving your chair?
Hmm. I'm intrigued. Tell me more about these mental vacations. Are we just talking about daydreaming at our desks?
Not really. It's more about giving your mind space to wander and recharge, like hitting pause on the daily grind and exploring different mental landscapes.
So instead of going somewhere new physically, we take our minds on a trip.
Exactly. It's like in ancient Rome, farmers knew that planting crops all the time would wear out the soil. They had this thing called fallowing, leaving the fields alone for a season so the land could recover.
Ah, okay.
Mental vacations are like fallowing for your mind.
I love that analogy. We push our creative minds so hard all the time, generating ideas and content. I
Hmm.
can definitely see why we need to give them time to rest and recover.
Absolutely. And just like that fallow field produces a bigger harvest, a rested mind is often a more creative and productive one.
So how do we actually take these mental vacations? Like, what does that look like?
It can be surprisingly simple. It might be things like reading a good book, spending time in nature, listening to calming music, or even just doing a few minutes of meditation. The key is to choose something that really lets you disconnect from work and let your mind roam free.
That makes me think of a book I read recently. It was all about these mental escapes, and it used this interesting metaphor of a towel to represent relaxation and inspiration.
Oh, yeah, the towel analogy. It's a powerful image for sure.
Yeah.
Imagine that feeling of wrapping yourself in a soft towel after a swim in the ocean. It's like that sense of comfort, escape, and being open to new possibilities.
I love that. It's like making your own mental oasis a safe space to let go of stress and get into a more relaxed and open state of mind.
Exactly. And the best part is you can find those towel moments anywhere, anytime. You don't need a week-long retreat or some fancy vacation package.
So even short breaks throughout the day can count as mental vacations.
Absolutely. Even just 5 minutes away from your work to look out the window, listen to a favorite song, or stretch a bit can make a huge difference in how clear your mind feels and how much creative energy you have.
This is making me think about all those times I felt stuck on a project or hit a creative block. What if instead of pushing through, I actually stepped away and gave my mind a break? Maybe that's what I've been missing.
It's definitely worth trying. You might be surprised by the insights and ideas that pop up when you let yourself disconnect and recharge.
This all sounds great, but I'm curious. Are there any real-world examples of how these mental breaks have sparked creativity? I need some proof that this stuff actually works.
Oh, there are tons of stories of creators who found inspiration in unexpected places, often when they weren't even trying to create. Yeah, like this one author got the idea for their best-selling novel while relaxing on a beach vacation. And another entrepreneur came up with their groundbreaking invention during a quiet nature walk.
That's amazing. It's like giving yourself permission to not be productive can actually make you more productive in the end. But I imagine it's not always easy to just switch off, especially for those of us who are wired to constantly create and hustle.
You're right. It can be a real challenge to let go of that drive to constantly produce and achieve. In fact, there are even stories of some super successful people who find it almost impossible to truly disconnect even on vacation. Every time they try to relax, some new problem or setback pops up in their work.
So it sounds like finding a balance is key. We need to find ways to take these mental breaks without completely losing momentum on our goals.
Exactly. It's about finding what works for you, trying different things, and making mental vacations part of your routine in a way that feels sustainable and actually helps you.
This is also fascinating. I'm already starting to think about how I can add more of these towel moments into my own life. But before we get into specific strategies, I want to understand more about the deeper benefits of mental vacations. Is it just about relaxing and reducing stress, or is there something more profound happening?
That's a great question, and it's something we'll explore more deeply in the next part of our deep dive. But I can tell you this, mental vacations aren't just about escaping from work or stress. It's about reconnecting with yourself, tapping into your intuition, and rekindling that sense of wonder and curiosity that fuels true creativity.
So you were saying that mental vacations are about more than just relaxation and stress reduction.
Yeah, what's really interesting is that these breaks can be super powerful for like reflecting and discovering things about yourself. When you step away from that daily grind and just let yourself be, you make room for new insights and perspectives to come up.
Yeah, I get that. That's like when you're stuck on a puzzle. Sometimes the best thing is to just walk away for a bit. And when you come back, you often see the solution that was staring you in the face the whole time.
Exactly. Stepping back from a problem, whether it's something creative, a big life decision, or even just something that's been bugging you can give you that mental space to see things more clearly.
This makes me think about those micro vacations, those little moments we can squeeze into our day to shift our focus and refresh our minds.
Those are so important. You don't need to block off hours on your calendar to get the benefits.
Yeah.
Even just a few minutes looking out the window, taking a quick walk, or listening to some calming music can help you hit that reset button, come back to your work feeling more focused and energized.
Do you have any go-to strategies for taking these mini mental breaks throughout the day? I'm always looking for new ways to stay balanced and avoid burnout.
One of my favorite things is to just step away from my desk and observe the world around me.
Hmm.
Like I might notice the way the light shines through the trees, the sound of birds singing, or the bright colors of flowers. It's a way to ground myself in the present moment and appreciate the beauty that we often miss in our busy lives.
I love that. Nature is so restorative for me too. Spending time outside, whether it's a walk in the park or just sitting under a tree, helps me clear my head and reconnect with a sense of peace. You know what else I find really helpful? Conversations with younger people, like mentoring them. It's both inspiring and mentally stimulating.
That's so cool how different things work for different people. For me, another strategy I like is creating aphorisms. Those short sayings that capture some truth or insight.
Oh,
It's a fun, creative exercise, and it often gives me new ideas for my writing.
creating aphorisms. That's brilliant. It's like a mini workout for your brain, flexing those creative muscles in a concise and powerful way.
It's amazing how these small creative acts can spark so much inspiration and joy. It reminds me that we don't always need big gestures or elaborate plans to tap into our creativity.
Speaking of tapping into our creative potential,
Mm.
I'm curious about the connection between these mental vacations and that childlike sense of wonder and curiosity that we often lose as we grow up.
That's a key part of it. Think back to when you were a kid. How easily you could get lost in your imagination. Creating entire worlds out of cardboard boxes and crayons.
Yeah.
You didn't need fancy gadgets or structured activities to be creative. It just flowed naturally.
That's so true. As children, we're naturally curious and open to new experiences. We don't
Yeah.
have all the inhibitions and self-doubt that hold us back as adults.
Exactly. So what if mental vacations are a way to reconnect with that childlike sense of awe and possibility, like tapping back into that natural creativity that we all have inside
I
us?
love that idea. It's about giving ourselves permission to play, to experiment, to explore without judgment or expectations. It's about rediscovering the joy of creating just for the sake of creating.
And that joy is contagious. When we're truly excited and engaged in our work, it shows in everything we do. It attracts collaborators, inspires audiences, and ultimately makes for a more fulfilling and meaningful creative journey.
This makes me think about the times I felt most creatively alive. It's often when I've stepped outside my comfort zone, tried new things, and approached my work with a sense of playfulness and curiosity.
It's in those moments of openness and exploration that we often stumble upon our most innovative and impactful ideas.
This whole conversation has been a powerful reminder that mental vacations aren't just a luxury for creators. They're crucial for staying creative and feeling fulfilled.
It's about recognizing that our minds, like our bodies, need time to rest and recharge. It's about putting our well-being first, not as a treat, but as an investment in our creative potential.
I love that. It's like that saying, you can't pour from an empty cup. You have to refill your own creative well before you can give anything to your work, your audience, or even yourself.
Exactly. And those mental vacations are the key to refilling that well, so we can come back to our work with renewed energy, inspiration, and a deeper sense of purpose.
Okay, so we've talked about how mental vacations are good for creators, like reducing stress, boosting creativity, and even helping us tap back into that childlike sense of wonder. But how do we actually fit these mental breaks into our busy lives?
That's the big question, right? It's where a lot of creators struggle. We know we should take breaks, but it's hard to shake that guilt of not working.
Oh, yeah, I know exactly what you mean. It's like there's this constant pressure to always be on, churning out content, responding to every notification. It's tough to escape that feeling that if we're not hustling all the time, we're falling behind.
The thing is, though, that constant hustling can actually work against you. When you push yourself to the point of burnout, your creativity takes a hit. The quality of your work goes down, and you risk burning out completely.
It's like running a marathon without stopping for water or rest.
Yeah.
You're going to hit a wall eventually.
Exactly. So how do we break free from that always-on mindset and embrace the power of taking a pause?
Hmm.
I think it starts with realizing that taking breaks isn't selfish. It's
Hmm.
essential. It's an investment in our well-being, our creativity, and ultimately our long-term success.
I like that way of looking at it. It's not about being lazy or unproductive. It's about being smart and intentional with our energy.
Exactly. And it's about finding what works for you. What helps one person disconnect and recharge might not work for someone else.
So it's kind of like a personal experiment.
Exactly. Some people find peace in nature, others in meditation, and others in creative things like writing or painting. The important thing is to try different options and figure out what really lets you step away from work and get into that more relaxed and receptive state of mind.
This takes me back to that towel analogy. It's about finding that symbolic space, that mental oasis where you can truly unwind and let go.
Right. And remember, it doesn't have to be something big or fancy. It could be as simple as making a cup of tea and really enjoying it, listening to your favorite music, or taking a few deep breaths while focusing on how your body feels.
Yeah, those little moments of mindfulness can make such a difference. It's like hitting pause on all the thoughts and worries that are always swirling around in our heads.
Absolutely. And over time, as you start making these mental breaks a regular part of your routine, you'll find it gets easier to disconnect, recharge, and come back to your work feeling refreshed and inspired.
This has been such an insightful conversation. I'm already feeling motivated to make those towel moments a priority in my own life.
Mm.
But before we wrap up, I'd love to hear your final thoughts on the power of mental vacations for creators.
I think the biggest takeaway is this: give yourself permission to take breaks. Don't let guilt or the fear of falling behind hold you back. Embrace the power of pausing. Reconnect with that childlike sense of wonder and watch your creativity take off.
That's perfect. Find your towel, embrace those mental vacations, and keep creating amazing things. And if you found this deep dive interesting, be sure to subscribe for more inspiring content. Until next time, keep those creative sparks flying.